Far-right groups in Ukraine are no joke, but I hope that this is. A journalist working for RT in East Ukraine is now wanted by the right sector, and the bounty on his head is $10,000 for allegedly being a Russian spy. Now, this tweet appeared over the weekend claiming that anyone who can capture Graham Phillips gets $10,000. We've got him live on the line in the Now tonight. Hello, Graham. Hope you're safe. You seem to be okay so far. Tell us what...
Hi, Anissa.
What did you do to get on the bad side of the right sector, and how serious are you taking these claims?
I'll tell you what they mean by calling me a Russian spy. They mean that I tell the truth, an inconvenient truth then that they don't want to hear, which is that most of the Western media here has been misrepresenting this story, and I've been telling it on the ground. I've been in Slavyansk here for over 3 weeks. There isn't a journalist who's been here longer, who's spent more time, who's been to more places, spoken to more people and done more stories, and I've been telling the real story from here. So when they call me a Russian spy, what they mean is that I'm telling the story that they don't want to hear from this part of the country, and that is why this reward is now, and it started a few days ago. There were figures put out of $1,000, and now it's up to $10,000, and all that means is that the truth that I'm telling is getting more and more inconvenient for them to hear, to the point that they're willing to offer considerable sums of money to basically shut that up.
Well, it really took a turning point, at least online.
As for me, in my position here, I
was saying it really took a turning point over the weekend after what happened in Odessa. Some of your tweets got very to the point. I hope we can show some of them to our audience. Just tell us a little bit more about what you were saying that is making them get worried about you getting the truth out.
Well, Anissa, I'm going to tell you about Odessa. That's my home town in Ukraine. It's where I have a flat. It's where I live. And I've been going to these demos for weeks now. And I have to say that I didn't cover that as a journalist. That for me is my home. And that for me was a personal instance of these people I know. And I knew people that were in that building being labelled as terrorists. And I couldn't have that stand. And I couldn't let that stand. And I stood up against this branding, this complete flagrant disrespect of these dead people in this Odessa massacre, and I stood up against that, and I stood up against that as a man, and I stood up against that as a human principle. And this situation since Odessa has been palpably different. The emotions have escalated to the extent that now we're having these really extreme, when I speak to people, outbreaks and outpourings of emotion. It's completely changed the game, and the situation now after that is really different, and that is why this has arisen, this now escalation of this desire to have me shut up as soon as possible, and in presumably the most brutal way possible, which is basically a reward for my head. But that isn't going to change it. I'm going to still be here. I'm going to still tell the truth as I see it. And about Odessa, you know, I wasn't on the scene, but I know that story, and I know that that isn't the story you were getting in the Western media. I've spoken to people there, and I'll tell the truth about that story, and then I'll go back to my hometown of Odessa, and I'll pay my respects to those dead people, the respects not given to them by much of the Western media.
All right, Graham Phillips, live with us on the line from Slavyansk. Do stay safe, Graham. We need you to keep working for us there. Keep bringing us the story that's so hard to bring to the world.